Business growth strategies. Listen, what I'm going to say may offend some people, and some people it may not. But this is not our hustle. This is our business. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I have seen stylists and barbers, and I must admit, I used to be one of them too, not start their business out the right way. And I cannot begin to tell you, with the experience that I have, how important and how crucial it is. And it starts with a mindset. It starts with changing your mindset. We've been so conditioned and so used to doing things the old way. When we change our mindset, you will be surprised at how much growth you will gain, and actually income you will gain as well in your business. And I'm going to say this, as a stylist and even as an owner, there are questions you should be asking yourself. Where do you see yourself in the industry? Do you just want to be a stylist, an educator, a salon owner? And some of you may want to be all three. What do you want your income to be? That's a real good question. What is your target market? And are you an average stylist or are you a professional stylist? And the most important question is, will you have money set aside for yourself for retirement? Those are very good questions that you should be asking yourself. The thing about it is, when we're in school, we're taught theory, we're taught basics of hair care, like hair cutting, coloring, relaxers, permanent waving, finger waves, and how to pass a state board. What is not taught is the business of the profession. So with that being said, I want to start with going over things that as a stylist and owner we should have in place. And I actually want to share a story, like for real, this really happened to me. I moved from New York. I probably was in Atlanta about maybe a year and a half, and I took a position as a stylist at a salon. Just to give you a basic idea, I don't want to put any names out there or anything like that, but just to give you some idea of what happened. It was a nice salon. It was a huge salon. We had about 10 or 12 stations in the salon. Half was barbers, half was stylists. And when I started working there, I don't even think I was there for about a month. And State Board came to visit us. And the owner was unattainable at the time for quite a while. And they had someone else that was actually managing the salon. And the manager wasn't there. So this woman walks in. You know, I saw her while I was doing hair, but I didn't think anything. And before I know it, I saw everybody just running out the back door, scurrying like rats. I was like, what is going on? I'm looking up front because I'm like, okay, is somebody trying to rob, shoot out? What, like I'm in my New York mentality, like, okay, what's really going on here? So finally the lady walks over to me and she told me what her name was and said that she was there from State Board. And she had requested to see the owner or the manager, and I told them that neither one was there. So she asked me for my license and for my ID. And so I went in my wallet and I gave her my pocket ID, and I also gave her the license. So she, my ID for my license. So she was like, okay. So she says, do you know all the people who were running out of the salon? And I told her I don't know anything. I said, I'm actually new and I just started. I mean, at the end of the day, I ain't gonna drive a dime on nobody. But she said, okay. She said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do my inspection. And mind you, she was there for about a good 20, 30 minutes. She went to each station that she saw that had implements on it, combs, blow dryers. She looked, and then she had her little paper and she was just marking. When she was done, she came over to me and asked me to take this paper and give to the owner or the manager. and said that let them know that they had 30 days to comply. And I said, okay, no problem. So immediately when she left, of course, I called up the manager, and she happened to be older woman who actually knew nothing about the business. And she came back to the salon immediately, and I showed it to her. It was like almost like $5,000 worth of fines. Seriously, it was something astronomical. And I thought she was going to have go into cardiac arrest, because she was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay for all of this? And yada, yada, yada. So I told her, I'm really not sure what's going on here, and, where the owner is, and so forth and so on. I said, but, you can't have people working in the salon who's not licensed, which I didn't know at the time. However, long story short, she did end up having to pay some of the fines, not all of them. And once she explained to me all of what was going on and what her situation was, I told her that I would help her until the owner was able to come back and help herself. And, the rest was history. And actually, that ended up being my first management job as far as managing a hair salon. So I'm telling you the story to say this. We have got to have our stuff in order. I mean, at the end of the day, don't nobody have time to be paying no state board fees. And I want to say back then, they may have been about $700, $500 for no license back then. Honey, now these fees are like $1,000, $1,500. So don't nobody have time for that. Let's get our stuff in order for real. So I really want to talk about those type of things. And I'm going to start with number one, making sure that you are licensed. Having a license from the State Board of Cosmetology. Okay, that's going to be the first thing. Your second thing you do is that if you are a salon owner, you will require that you don't have to have a license, a cosmetology license, but if you own a salon, the people working with you need to be licensed. And also, as a salon owner, you also have to have a shop license. Now, for stylists who are renting a booth, you should have a cosmetology license. You don't have to have a shop license, but you should have a city business license to operate as a business. Those are two things that you should have. Number three, you definitely want to have a business name. And you could go to any Secretary of State's website and you can do a search and register your business name there. The third thing you want is to have a EIN number. I know many of you know what an EIN number is, and if you don't know, an EIN number is an employee identification number. And what that does is it separates your personal from your business finances. Once you have those things in order, last but not, another thing you should have in order, is how you're going to structure your business. Are you going to have it as a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be an LLC or a corporation? And then lastly, once you have all of those things in order, then you need to establish a business checking account. Establishing a business checking account, again, will separate your personal finances from your business finances. Also, all businesses are really not recognized until you actually have a business checking account opened. And then what happens is you have your EIN number, and then we go into D&B, which is Dun & Bradstreet, and they're the ones that actually report your business credit. When you have your business checking account open, you're able to establish credit. So these are the reasons why you want to have these things in order, as a stylist, because now you're doing things professionally. And I'm going to say this over and over again, probably in each course that we go through. The more professional you are, then the more money you're going to make. And at the end of the day, guess what? You've spent thousands of dollars going to school to learn this trade, and you just want to be just an average stylist? Nope. You have to ask yourself the question, do you really know how much money this industry makes? That's what you need to ask yourself. And when you find out, you should be saying to yourself, hey, this is how much money I'm going to take away from this industry. Okay, so I want to start talking about stylists and owners for location. You have to do your homework. If you're a stylist looking for a location to work at, it is important that you definitely do your homework. Because listen, you're not the only one that's being interviewed. You should be doing the interviewing as well. You don't want to work somewhere where you can't grow a clientele. You don't want to work anywhere where the energy is bad or the salon has a bad name. So some of the questions that you may want to ask yourself not yourself, but you want to ask the owners, you want to find out how long their establishment has been in business. You want to ask, how long have they been in the industry? You want to find out what can they offer you to help you further your career. You want to know how many stylists are working in the salon, because that's important too. And also you want to know, what does everyone specialize in? Because you want to be in an environment where you can actually grow. And then last but not least, you want to know, what do they offer as far as booth rental, commission, or are they salaried? If you're new coming out the business and you don't really have a clientele, I would opt to say you might want to do commission. Or you can even do booth rent. I'm not going to lie to you. When I first came out of school, I hadn't even graduated yet. I was still on the floor. And I literally had gotten a job and had worked at a hair salon. And I was paying $100 a week for booth rent. Sure was. But the amount of money I made every week, it was definitely worth it. And this was years ago, like in the early 80s. So now I'm telling my age. But anyway, these are the type of things that you definitely want to, look at, because they're very important. And for owners who, if you're an owner, or if you're looking to maybe establish or open up a business, you want to think real hard about the location. You want to make sure that your location is, first and foremost, it's safe. You want to make sure that it's accessible, and you want to make sure there's ample parking. And also find out, like if you're in a strip mall or a shopping plaza, you want to know what the anchor tenants are, because you'll be feeding off of them. When you have tenants in a shopping plaza or a shopping mall where you're looking to open up your business, you'll actually grow your business from the other tenants that are surrounding you. So that's really, really important as well. And I do have my notes here, because I definitely don't want to forget anything. So I'm going to go on to lease negotiations. Not everyone, and I hate to say this, but it's so important that you read your lease. It's so, so important. And I know there's a lot of jargon inside leases that you don't understand. If you do not understand everything that is in your lease, my advice is to have your lease reviewed by an attorney. I had a phone call literally about 2 years ago from a colleague of mine, and basically what happened was she signed a lease and her HVAC system went out. Okay, let me say this again. I had a colleague who called me, and she was so upset because she said that her HVAC system went out and that she had received an email. She had called the landlord up and let them know that they needed to send somebody with the HVAC, and the landlord sent her an email, highlighting her lease that she's responsible for the HVAC system getting fixed. Listen, let me just say this to you. I am not and will not be responsible for someone's building that I am leasing that I do not own, and I have to fix a major component like that, because that gets very expensive. But because she did not read her lease in its entirety, this is what happened. So she had to eat the expense of that, because at the end of the day, guess what? Winter was coming. She had to get it fixed. You can't be in a salon with no heat. So, you know, so lesson well learned. And trust me, I've learned these lessons too. I had a situation one time where I ended up having to change my name of my business, all because I didn't want to pay a $25 fee to have the name searched. So do yourself a favor, do the name search before you register your business with the Secretary of website, on the Secretary of State's website. But do your homework. Make sure that you pay the $25 fee to search the name on the Secretary of State's website before you register your business. It will save you a great deal of money. So yes, the reason why I had to change the name was because someone else had the same name, although our names were spelled differently. They sounded exactly the same. And that caused an issue for me. And, you know, I had to comply because they were in business a lot longer than I was. And, of course, I didn't do the name search like I was supposed to. So that $25 cost me $2,000. But at any rate, these are the type of things that you definitely want to put in order for business growth. That is actually setting the foundation for you. I have like full course. I have a full course that will go into full detail about building the business credit, you know, things that you can use to negotiate your leases, how to get free rent. And I'm sorry guys, I'm so tired. I'm just now finishing work. As you can see, I still have my smock on. I just wanted to get this video done and get it out to, you know, get it out there, because this is just information that people really need. And at the end of the day, I'm really here to help. I'm really here to help. You know, feel free to ask questions, comment. I'm here to help you. And I promise you that I will definitely get back to you with any questions that you may have. You know, join our Facebook group at Hair Fetish Academy. If you want to contact me directly, you can contact me at Questions for Gina and fill out the form on this page. And this will conclude our segment for business growth strategies. I hope that this has been helpful for you. And if you click on the button below to get early access and notifications before the course is released to the general public, because if you do, you will get fabulous free bonuses that will help you grow your salon business. That I can promise you. So thanks again for joining me. I hope this will help. Thanks again for joining me. You have a blessed evening. Thanks again for joining me. You be blessed. Thanks again for joining me. Be blessed.